I think that there's a clarity that comes with knowing what your industry is panning out like, and animation is unpredictable. And that's as much clarity as we can get sometimes with jobs, where it's like you don't know when the jobs are going to be flourishing, when they're going to be sparse. You have to get comfortable with knowing that there will be points of just like no job and like no lined up gig, and that you have to fill that space. And I think about the job I have and I'm like, what if this ends tomorrow? What if we don't get funding? What if something happens? If my current gig ends, I will be happy in knowing that at least I had this. Character animation program is a simulated pipeline of the animation industry pipeline. So what you do here is very similar to what you do in an actual studio. It's essentially putting you into a group of 30 people, splitting into 2 films, and guiding yourself through the pipeline and seeing what every single role is.
Superstitious is about an anxious and clumsy fairy named Alba.
One day, a black cat stumbled upon her shop
and chaos starts to ensue.
Frostbite's about a young treasure seeker
who goes into an abandoned laboratory in a snowy mountain in the Andes.
But when she gets there, she finds something much more meaningful. How many hours a week do I work on the film? I would say roughly around 30 to 45 hours a week.
30 hours a week? A rough estimate of 66 hours a week.
45 hours a week.
It's a lot of time that we spend putting in hours while we're in class, which is about 5 or 6 hours. And then after class, when you go home and you still need stuff that you have to finish up or to tweak, but it's like a full-time job. There's usually not a lot of time to do anything else because you're focused on your film, you're focused on finishing, you need to make sure that it looks good and that it presents your work effectively.
My biggest struggle has been imposter syndrome, and that is so common within most fields, but it's talked about a lot in creative fields. When I got into the program and I saw all my classmates and I saw their artwork, it's a limited program. 30 people get in a year, and I looked around and at everybody's work and all the things they could do better than me, and I was like, why was I chosen? Why am I here? I feel like this is not a place I'm worthy of being, and I still kind of battle with that. For instance, I said I work 30 hours a week. Victor said he works 40 hours a week, and then you get this mentality of like, am I not hardworking enough for this? Am I not as good at this? Am I not putting in enough effort for this? So like imposter syndrome has followed me through this program, and it's going to continue to do so when you have classmates who kind of also have that and can reassure you that like it's okay, and then also dealing with it and being like, I am perfectly good where I am. I'm doing my work. I'm good at what I do. I've gotten better at doing that for myself.
We have to learn so many software in a very, very short amount of time, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges since the beginning of this program, and being able to learn all of that and apply the knowledge into the actual film is very challenging, because one moment I will be thinking like, oh, I'm doing just fine, and then the next day I will come in and everything will totally break.
I'm from Venezuela, and back there I went to university. I did law school for 4 years, and I had to stop that before finishing my thesis, which was gonna allow me to actually practice law. My thing with law is that back then it was convenient for me. I was a straight A student, but it's not something that I was very passionate about. I will do good in the school, but that's about it. I wouldn't come to my house and then try to like research more or take time out of my day just to like do that just because I find it like exciting. No. And that's the difference with animation. Animation, I basically breathe anything related to like 3D modeling, animating characters, texturing, and that's one of the aspects that made me realize that I enjoy doing this more, because when I'm doing it, I don't feel like I'm working.
When I first said I was going into animation, I got no backlash from my immediate family members. The backlash came more from my Lolo and Lola. My Lola, she is a very typical Asian grandparent. She's like, I want you to be a doctor. And I was like, sorry, Lola. Pass it on to the next cousin, okay? That's not going to be me. So, my Lola, I don't think she understands much of what animation is, but she is the type of person who she's going to be proud of me no matter what. She has drawings that I did when I was like 14, framed and hanging up in her house. I'm talking like real bad stuff. Like, baby's first anime drawing, you know, and she has it up in her house. So even if it wasn't the career path she wished I would go on, she's supportive of me no matter what.
Well, I don't think I ever really wanted to quit. I think I always really loved it, and it was just more of, I want to do this so bad, but I'm not doing it in the way that I want, or I'm not reaching the level that I thought I would get at certain goal points. And there's that thing of like social media where it's like you look at artists who are online and they're like, I'm 13 years old and I created this masterpiece and I was only working on it for 2 weeks. And you know, I'm sitting here at like 22 and I'm like, this layout took me the past semester and it's still not to the full extent of what I'd want it to be. Or seeing friends of mine that are also 22 being like, I have a kid and a house. And I'm like, I did my dishes this morning. And that kind of comparison of like, am I doing what I want to do and meeting the goals that I wanted to? And I think it's more of, not that I didn't want to do animation, but I was having an internal struggle of my self-expectations.
So once I graduate, I hope to find an internship or entry-level job, preferably in production.
I really would like to be working in TV animation.
I'm going to be trying to primarily focus in layout, but I will also be applying to grad schools.
I am specifically looking to go into production management.
I'm open to any role.
I want to look for something in production management.
You know, it's taken me 2 years to get through this program, so it's like my premiere is finally the nail in the coffin of like, this is it, you've done it, you've made it, everything is where it should be, and finally you're there and it's done and you can watch it on a big screen and sit back and be like, all of that work, all that work and all that effort has amounted to something, and then I can like finally lay my head down and be at ease about it. I think when I look back from wherever I end up in the future, I think I'll look back on this program as a very positive experience. I think that I can look back on it and be like, I know that embedding myself into this kind of community environment, this collaborative environment, that I was able to learn how to be better about myself and navigating and communicating, because I think that was a big issue for me at first. And I think I'll look back on it as being like, those are the years that were essential to me getting better and being like, okay, I need to hone in on my skills and I can't just slack and think that I'm the best at everything and be stagnating, because I think that it's an ever-evolving, iterative process whenever it comes to art and design and in your communication with other people.
Hi, I'm Carolina. I'm a graduate student here at UCF, and I'm currently working on a short film, Salado.
Currently, I am an animation production intern.
I am currently an associate visual effects designer.
Currently, I am working as a 3D modeler.
My current job is an art director.
Since graduation, nothing industry related.
So I went into the master's program because in general, I genuinely love education. So being in the master's program will then give me the opportunity to, in the future, be a professor if I would like to. Also, currently, the state of the animation industry is quite complicated. I think taking advantage of that to get my master's now is also crucial.
Whenever I was hunting for jobs, a lot of it is hunting online. So it's like you go on LinkedIn, you go on Twitter, you go on Discord servers to apply. I think I had applied for at least 100 jobs.
At least 30 to 40 places.
Around 100, probably more.
I mean, I'm probably like 200 applications in the whole. I've never had anybody reach out to interview me, and that's kind of where I'm at now. I even took a break from applying because it's very unhealthy and demoralizing to face all of that rejection at once.
I think the only one that I got was for the internship that I'm currently with.
Around 3 between the one from the company that I'm now and other ones that just didn't get anywhere.
The animation industry is extremely competitive right now, and I feel like every 2 months you hear about a studio closing or having mass layoffs, which means the job market is extremely saturated with talent. So when already, before all these mass layoffs, you would apply to a job and you'd have 500 people also applying to that job, maybe more. Now, the talent pool is so big because you have all these people who are laid off and lost their jobs. They're all applying to this position. So when I go and I apply to a production assistant job, there's people with 2, 3, 10 more years of experience that got fired from their last job that are applying for that same position. Obviously, I'm not gonna say like, it's not fair, like it's fair, right? I always knew that this was going to be a competitive job field. And so I think I'm just like dealing with the circumstances that this industry kind of goes through.
It's really scary when you graduate because you've spent so much of your life being a student and you kind of like have a schedule set with that, and you know what comes in the future. You know that it's like, well, next year I have to do this, next summer I have to have a break, and then I'll go back to school. So you graduate and you find that it's no longer summer, but like it's just life, and you're supposed to just like try to find the new routine for the new life you have as a recent graduate. So sometimes it's hard, you know, you apply, you don't hear back from most of the applications. From some of them you hear back like 3 months later being like, actually, thank you for your interest, we won't be moving forward. So that's discouraging, but funny enough, the role that I apply now, I had applied believing that I wasn't gonna get it in the first place, because you know, you kind of get the imposter syndrome being like, they're not gonna call me out of everybody who's going to apply for this. And they did, so keep throwing it at the wall until it sticks.
So at first I was really neurotic about it. So when I got off school and I still didn't have anything for that first month when I wasn't working, it was about improving myself, improving my portfolio. So learning industry standard tools, learning industry standard softwares. But other than that, in a lot of ways, I feel like I have done everything I can do. At a certain point, it becomes circumstances that are not in my control.
I definitely think that my personal goals as well as career goals have changed from when I first joined the undergraduate program to when I graduated to even now. It's a slightly funny story. I really wanted to work for Blue Sky. That was like one of my dream studios. And then in the midst of my junior year, it just got obliterated. So that kind of went away. And then I really started looking at different studios, as well as like I understood more about what the animation industry was like. So I think leaving the undergraduate program, I was both more knowledgeable in like the industry itself and things that I like to specialize in, but I also think in part because I kind of overworked myself in the undergraduate and burnt myself out, my goals shifted a lot in what I felt was important to prioritize for myself and what I enjoyed in my life.
I mean, at first, I feel like my career goal was to be an animator or a concept artist. And to me, those are almost like the vaguest, most well-known parts of the animation pipeline. By the time I graduated, it definitely changed to work on production, running a team, organizing, make sure that a project can get from point A to point B relatively smoothly. And now my goal is go to school again. I got in and I will be going there fall, just because after nearly a year of sitting around, I think that I'm not competitive enough for the field.
I don't think that my goals change, because mainly what I wanted to get out of the program was experience and improving my modeling skills. And definitely I can set myself apart from the Victor of like 3 years ago.
You look back at when time has passed and we go to film festivals and we go and we watch the movie again, and at some point you start feeling kind of like detached from the product. I guess in time you're like, wow, I can't believe I participated in doing that. You start kind of like moving past it. Once you do that, you're able to see the things that happen more in perspective. But if I had any takeaway in all of this process, definitely is the people, because they are one of the most consistent things that I still have now from back then. And if I look back, we had a lot of difficulties towards the very end of the pipeline. I won't lie, there was a lot of times where I looked at it and I was in my bed at 2 a.m. and thinking, I don't know if we're gonna be able to get the film done, because there's like a month left and we have so much left and the renders aren't working and I just want to cry. But for some reason we ended up pulling for the premiere, and I think we wouldn't have been able to do it if everybody on the team hadn't decided, well, we need to get this done and we're gonna get it done. And there was a lot of dedication from everybody.
Despite not being where I want to be nearly a year later, I am still very proud of what we did. Frostbite, I remember I didn't watch it for a while after I graduated. I mean, like, what do you say for a film that you've seen in dozens of iterations, hundreds of times? But I remember this moment where we went to this film festival, Victor was there, Jackie was there, and I watched it again for the first time in several months, and I was like, damn, like, this is good. We did that, and I thought of all the time constraints we had, how it was only 2 years, only 1 year since we started like the 3D stuff. That was really validating. So obviously I'm still very proud of it, and like stream Frostbite or whatever.